1999, on a quiet evening at home, under the soft glow of a single lamp, Frank Gust sat across from his mother as she shuffled tarot cards, a ritual she had long believed brought comfort, clarity, maybe even protection. But that night, the cards told a different story. The death card appeared. She reshuffled, dealt again. The same card appeared. Frank looked at her with unnerving calm and said plainly, "I killed a woman." It was not said in anger. It was not a joke. It was a statement delivered with cold certainty. His mother dismissed it as one of his strange stories, from a son she saw as troubled but harmless. She did not know that her dismissal was a mistake of terrifying proportions, because by then, Frank Gust was already responsible for a string of murders that would shock a nation. Before the headlines, before the panic, long before, a darkness had begun to grow in him. Born in May 1969 in the grim industrial city of Oberhausen, Gust spent his early years in emotional emptiness. His father, an alcoholic, ignored his birth. His mother, working long hours, left him in a nursery with no warmth, no love, no stability, a world of routine and neglect. School offered no solace. He was smaller, softer, haunted by a vulnerability that made him easy prey for bullies. A stepfather's arrival brought strict discipline, humiliation, fear. A secret abuse by neighbors added another unforgivable wound. And at just 8 years old, a once gentle act of seeking companionship, buying a guinea pig, ended in cruelty. What began as a child's plea for connection became an awakening of darker urges. As he grew, so did those urges. Rabbits, gardens at night, a fascination with death, a drive to control life by ending it. At 15, he left home for a youth shelter, a move that felt like freedom but only deepened his detachment. He wandered cemeteries, broke into morgues, tinkered with corpses. The smell of death, the finality of it. He said later that this was when he realized how real it could be. He experimented with arson. He fantasized about animals, large animals, horses. By 1992, he had acquired a hunting license. One day in the forest, he fired his weapon at a horse, carried out the ritual he had imagined for years. He described it as calm, satisfying. But the act didn't end the obsession. It sharpened it. Then came his first human victim. On September 8, 1994, rain fell steadily on a lonely stretch of road. Gust, driving aimlessly, spotted a lone woman, Catherine Thompson, hiking toward nowhere, thumb out for a ride. She slipped into his car, unsuspecting. Courtesy. Normal conversation. A ride. But the forest track ahead was empty, silent. When Gust asked her to step out, claiming to have lost his keys, it was the moment he had rehearsed for years. A single gunshot ended her life. Then, after a cold moment of silence, he treated her body like a statement. He moved her body deeper into the forest, then carried out a ritualistic staging. He removed several parts of her body. He placed her torso in a position where he knew someone would find it quickly. He intentionally scattered the other parts in different locations, not to hide them, but to create shock when they were eventually discovered. He cleaned himself up calmly, returned to his car, and drove home as if nothing had happened. The next morning, headlines across Germany screamed of unspeakable brutality. A woman murdered, mutilated, left like a warning. Shock should have offered protection. It didn't. Less than 2 years later, a second woman, 30-year-old Svenja D., entered his car in Essen's red light district. She believed she was making a deal. He believed he was rehearsing a ritual. Once in a secluded area on the outskirts of the city, the darkness came back. Investigation later concluded that Svenja had been strangled, her body carefully positioned in a way that mirrored the signature from the first crime. The staging was different. No dismemberment, no immediate mutilation. But the message was unmistakable. The same predator had struck again. Her body was found by the roadside the next day, calm on the surface, monstrous beneath it. By 1998, Gust's fantasies had metastasized. On the night of June 20th, he picked up 26-year-old Sandra W. At first, he asked if she would let him tie her up. She hesitated, but consented, thinking it was part of a mutual kink. Once bound, He whispered horrors, describing what he intended to do, envisioning torment, control, dominance. Fear paralyzed her. Then came an unexpected act of self-destruction. He pressed a gun to his own head and handed it to her. "Pull the trigger," he commanded. She refused. Moments later, he released her, then coldly shot her as she tried to escape. This time, the aftermath was barely staged. He removed her hands, but left the rest of her body largely intact. Some investigators speculated he had already satisfied his compulsion in the encounter itself. Others argued he was unsure what to do after her flight. What was certain, a third life extinguished. And the pattern made investigators realize a serial killer was striking across the region. Despite this, the man living among neighbors, raising a young daughter, working as a roofer, remained undetected. He kept the basement of his home locked, a private world no one questioned. In 1998, he moved in with his wife and her aunt. The aunt was the only person he ever confided in. He told her he had killed before, described his fantasies, his urges, and all she could respond with was disbelief. Within weeks, she vanished. No body, no explanation, only silence. Then, in 1999, his mother's casual retelling of that tarot reading, the one where Frank had said he killed a woman, finally triggered action. A relative went to police. Detectives came, asked for a DNA sample. Frank refused at first. Then, for the first time, the mask slipped. "There is no need," he said to them. "I am the man you are looking for." Behind the locked door of his basement, investigators found notes, tools, explosives, meticulously organized plans. The private architecture of a monster revealed. In court in 2000, Gust sat calm. He asked for the death penalty, not from guilt, but from conviction. Psychiatrists declared him fully aware, fully responsible. He received life imprisonment. Therapy was offered. He quit. He explained plainly, "I cannot be treated. If I am ever released, I will kill again." Even now, decades later, the case remains a cautionary shadow. A man who lived among ordinary people, a husband, a father, a neighbor. But beneath the banality, a predatory mind, capable of crosses between fantasy and reality. Gust is locked away, but his crimes linger, a warning that some darkness doesn't stay hidden forever. If you watch the video and feel shaken, unsettled, or disturbed, know that's the point. This isn't a horror story to thrill. It's a portrait of how abandonment, trauma, secrecy, and compulsion can transform pain into violence. If you're still with us, like, subscribe, and tell me what you think. Because sometimes the truth is darker than fiction, and always more important to remember.